Get full episodes of The Damage Report as a podcast on iTunes and Android, and you can watch the live show every weekday on YouTube TV.
We turn our focus to Mississippi, a state I've been to, but not spent much time in, so I will probably be chalked up as one of those people who talks about Mississippi without knowing much about Mississippi.
So many of those people. A lot of people brag about going to Mississippi.
I've been to Mississippi, whatever. But here's a good law, a good development in Mississippi. A district court judge in Mississippi has overturned the recent law passed by the voters of Mississippi to essentially make abortion all but illegal. It is known as the, I think it's, what is it called? Okay, so here it is. Governor Phil Bryant signed HB 1510, also known as the Gestational Age Act, in March, pledging his commitment to making Mississippi the safest place in America for an unborn child. The law made exceptions only for medical emergencies or cases in which there's a severe fetal abnormality. There were no exceptions for incidents of rape or incest, which is like the olive branch that people extend to pro-choice folks when they say, listen, in examples of rape, and incest, they do that.
But yeah, whenever they want to come off like, oh, we actually, we do care about the woman in this situation. That is, that whatever situation she's in, sure, if you want to come up with a couple of things that we really don't care about, but sure, we'll say those too. Because again, I didn't read the bill, sorry. But I'm sure there's, so the details of the severe fetal abnormalities or severe cases of emergency, who determines that in that moment? Who says, you know what, well, I see, lady, you have your decision you want to make about your life, and that's not severe enough.
So I went to Catholic school, and sorry, Christians, I went to Catholic school. But in that, they did mention that there is set out by the Bible a kind of ranking system for who to save in cases of emergency. And I remember they told us that if there is a choice between your child and your wife or your husband, you're supposed to save your wife or your husband because you can make more children. And I remember that very vividly when Dr. Porter said it. And so that's seared into my brain. So I think there is something from that translates to medical emergencies and abnormalities. You're right, to find out which justification will be accepted by people who aren't doctors when legislating this after the fact can be very frustrating. Here's what the judge said. The state chose to pass a law it knew was unconstitutional to endorse a decades-long campaign fueled by national interest groups to ask the Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade. This court follows the commands of the Supreme Court and the dictates of the United States Constitution rather than the disingenuous calculations of the Mississippi legislature. Now, was this from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals? Was this from the Nancy Pelosi San Francisco Court of Appeals? No, this was from a district judge in the Mississippi District Court. He goes on to say, its leaders are proud to challenge Roe, but choose not to lift a finger to address the tragedies lurking on the other side of the delivery room, such as high infant and maternal mortality rates, he wrote in a footnote. No legislation like HB 1510 is closer to the old Mississippi, the Mississippi bent on controlling women and minorities. And he goes on to say, the fact that men, myself included, are determining how women may choose to manage their reproductive health is a sad irony not lost on the court.
So I'm guilty of it, because when I was reading through some of this, and also we're talking about the lynch comments that are coming out of Mississippi from the candidate. How, you know, because I'm a bit detached, I'm in this Southern California bastion of libs, and I was like, wow, which district court judge is making these kind of declarative statements, strong declarative statements about women's rights, and how dare we impede on that? And so the first thing you think is, oh, who was this guy appointed by, put into place by, of course, he's an Obama appointee to fill the seat. In 2010, April of 2010, he was nominated there by Obama. So then, of course, because in the political sphere, we always talk about, oh, okay, what a president put him in place. But you know, he put him in place because the people of Mississippi probably feel this way. He represents, first of all, the correct judgment. That's the whole point of it. And he pointed that out in how he's following on the law of the land from Roe v. Wade and giving women the right. But you know what? I think, and again, I'm saying I'm guilty of it. I was assuming, man, a lot of residents bring me like, man, how dare he? But there's probably a lot of support locally from this.
Just
These
when
are the people
just
that
really
are living
quick,
their lives.
yeah, well, quickly when he mentions infant mortality rates, you would think, what, Mississippi, what are they, last in infant mortality rates? No, they're second to last. They're just beating Alabama, but they're behind Arkansas. So they were number 2 in infant mortality. Other facts about Mississippi, they're the only state to require that the person providing the abortion is a board certified gynecologist or approved to be board certified. Yeah. There's a 24-hour waiting period. By the way, the lawsuit brought against this law when it was passed, because it was a public referendum in March. The lawsuit was brought by a abortion clinic that is the only abortion clinic in Mississippi. And add to that this fact, which there's a 24-hour waiting period to get an abortion in Mississippi. So essentially what you have to do is travel to Jackson, Mississippi, from wherever you live in Mississippi, and you're in the South, so you're not gonna be easily finding any kind of Planned Parenthood or licensed abortion provider. And you have to stay there not 1 day, but 2 days. So you have to go back there twice after having traveled probably from a place more remote in Mississippi. They also have a trigger law that automatically goes into place in the event that they overturn Roe versus Wade. And you know what? They've been trying all this stuff, all the ways that President Trump has tried to load the courts. We need to be vigilant about that as well. It is very important to act and vote based on what you think is best for the Supreme Court, because this is where the rubber meets the road. And it won't do it immediately. You have to be active, and you have to make sure that you're ever vigilant about that.
Yeah, there's always you have to be diligent on it. And it's continuing and following up, because, as you said, mentioning that trigger law, as far as if Roe v. Wade is overturned, the opposing view is never resting. They're prepared and they have things ready to go. There's a trigger law. It's waiting for something to happen. So the complacency is an ally to that. Your complacency is an ally.
Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.